keeping motivated is interesting. So I actually used to be very demotivated very often. So I mentioned before that I actually dropped out of this university. I was pretty close to graduating. I needed to be here like one more semester. But I was so demotivated to keep going to school that I couldn't make myself do it. I just had to leave, right? So it wasn't just lack of motivation as in like stopping. It was like also associated with some kind of depression, right? And I don't think that this is an uncommon thing. I think computers, as we often use them, very often make people kind of depressed. And I don't think that's too surprising, but it's also not very well understood why, right? And so I think if you're going to be a serious programmer, you need to, if that happens to you, which it happens to many people, then you need to observe it, observe exactly what's happening and learn to recognize it, because at first you might not even, people just react to stuff, right? You can drop back a step and say, oh, I see what's happening here. It's just this mood happening, right, that I've had before. Maybe that means I'm still going to do what it's telling me to do, which is stop working on what I want, but I'm at least observing it, right? Observing it is the first step. And then for me, that kind of thing got a lot better when I found what I really wanted to do. Because what I discovered was, I thought all through school and then early jobs that I would do and stuff, I did a lot of contracting. After that first company that I had went out of business, I did a bunch of contracting and stuff. And I would always be really excited to get there and work on a new project. And then after a couple of weeks or a couple of months, it would start getting old, and then I'd just not really be able to do anything. And they're paying me to do stuff, and I'm not doing it. And I don't like how that feels, but I'm still not doing it, right? And human psychology is complicated and weird, right? But what my interpretation these days of what was going on was just that, I have some subconscious mechanism that really wants me to be working on the most important things that I could work on. And if I ever wasn't, then it would just stop supporting that activity, right? There's some part of me that, even though I thought I wanted to be there, like, oh, I'm making plenty of money, it's cool to work on this game or whatever, part of me really thought it wasn't that cool, right? And took away support for that activity. So once I started doing my own stuff and did it in such a way that I was not afraid of commercial constraints or whatever, like you could imagine starting your own company, but then because you're so worried about making the company go, you build things you don't really want to build because you think that that's what you can sell or whatever. But I didn't do that. I made exactly what I want to make and the way I wanted to make it on the time scale that I needed to make that happen. And ever since I started doing that, I don't generally have motivational problems. It's completely, depression kinds of things are completely gone. Just that, like, I'm in a boat and the wind has stopped and I'm just sitting here is gone, right? Now, I do still have ups and downs. Like sometimes I'm really into it and sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to work today, but I kind of gotta. But it's not that same like paralysis. It's just like, oh, I've gotta, I know this is a low day, but I really believe in what I'm doing. It's the best thing that I know how to do, so I'm going to keep going. So that's all, people say do what you love, and it's really often taken as hokey advice, but I think computer people especially need to do that. Because like I said, there's a certain kind of depression that is endemic in this kind of situation. I mean, I don't know, again, I'm not going to school in the year 2016, but I imagine it looks kind of the same from a certain dimension, right? So I imagine that hasn't changed very much. I don't know if any of that's useful, but yeah.